Imagine you are a top-tier software engineer living in Paris. A Silicon Valley giant offers you 6 times your current salary, a generous equity package, and a visa approved in 48 hours. It's an invitation to the top of the global tech ladder, but you turn it down. Instead, you stay in France to join Mistral AI. Founded in 2023 by former Meta and DeepMind researchers, Mistral bypassed the typical slow growth phase of European startups. In its first 29 months, the company secured 2.8 billion euros. That influx pushed their valuation to $14 billion. In venture capital, startups valued over $1 billion are unicorns. Mistral surpassed $10 billion, making it France's first decacorn. Mistral grew inside a massive, broader ecosystem. In the heart of Paris, Station F operates as the largest startup incubator on Earth, housing thousands of entrepreneurs across a former rail freight depot. The macro data confirms this momentum. In 2024, the French tech ecosystem raised 8.2 billion euros, placing the country 6th in the world for technology venture capital. Yet this growth hits a glass ceiling. Of the 10 leading French unicorns, 4 have already moved their headquarters to the United States. Europe has mastered the art of planting the seeds of innovation. It has the engineering talent and the initial capital to launch, but the continent remains structurally unable to keep the harvest. This friction starts with a philosophical divide. Article 191 of the treaty enshrines the precautionary principle, meaning that in cases of doubt, the burden of proof falls on the innovator to prove their technology is safe before it can be deployed. The 2024 EU AI Act is the most visible result of this philosophy. While it targets global giants, the resulting compliance burden falls hardest on the next generation of startups, who lack the legal departments to navigate complex new mandates. Beyond regulation, there is a literal pipe problem for money. According to the Draghi report, the European Union's share of global venture capital funds is just 5%. The United States holds 52%. This report identifies a direct brain drain of capital. Entrepreneurs find that to reach a large enough customer base to justify high-risk investments, they must relocate to the American market. This isn't for lack of wealth. European households hold roughly 10 trillion euros in low-yield bank deposits, but these savings are fragmented across national lines. Every year, 300 billion euros in European savings flee to the U.S. economy because European markets are too disjointed to absorb them. This has led to calls for a fifth freedom, adding the free movement of research, skills, and knowledge to the original 4 freedoms of the single market. Until that happens, Europe is effectively subsidizing the American tech sector. It spends the resources to train the world's best researchers, only to watch them and the savings of European citizens move across the Atlantic to build the next generation of giants. The roughly 30% of European unicorns that relocate do so out of professional survival. U.S. incorporation provides a reliable path to protect intellectual property and access the late-stage capital that simply does not exist in Europe. In the U.S., a founder can incorporate in Delaware and immediately access a unified market of 330 million people. To reach a similar scale in Europe, that same founder must navigate 27 different corporate laws, 27 different tax regimes, and 27 different sets of labor regulations. Mario Draghi issued a blunt warning to the European Parliament about this stagnation. He argued that unless the continent integrates its markets and streamlines its industrial policy, it faces a period of slow agony. The final stage of this process is the extraction of talent. A postdoctoral AI researcher in Europe earns roughly 45,000 euros. In Silicon Valley, that same researcher starts at $180,000. This leaves Europe in the role of a world-class incubator. It proves the technology, builds the initial models, and trains the engineers, but it never graduates them into global champions. The choice for the next decade is clear. Europe must build a frictionless environment for growth, or remain a continent that dreams in Paris but builds in California.